They found an abandoned fleet in deep space and made the choice that changed everything. But this story doesn't start among the stars. It starts on Earth, in a small coastal town where the sea meets the sky, and where a young man named Leo sat every evening on the same wooden bench, staring at the horizon. Leo wasn't watching the sunset. He was watching the sky, the darkening blue, then purple, then black, where the first stars blinked awake. He wasn't an astronaut. He wasn't a scientist. He worked at a repair shop, fixing old hover bikes. But every night, he looked up. Because up there, somewhere beyond Mars, near a quiet research station, was Maya. Maya had been his best friend since they were kids. They grew up together, climbed trees, shared dreams, and promised they'd never let anything come between them. She wanted to study the stars. He wanted to build things that flew. They were going to do it together, but life changed. Maya got accepted into the Deep Space Research Program, a rare chance to join a team studying cosmic drift patterns near Jupiter's orbit. It was a 3-year mission. She asked Leo to come. "I can't leave my mom," he said. "She needs me." Maya understood. But when the shuttle launched, something inside Leo broke. At first, they talked every week. Messages, video calls, laughing about small things, her terrible cooking in 0G, his new dog that chewed on engine parts. But over time, the messages got shorter. The calls stopped. Months passed. Leo still sat on the bench, still looked up. He missed her. Not just her voice or her laugh. He missed her. The way she believed in impossible things. The way she made him feel like he could do anything. Now he just felt small and far away. Not in miles, but in heart. He wanted to reach out. To say, "Hey, I miss you. Are you okay? Can we talk like we used to?" But every time he typed a message, he deleted it. What if she didn't care anymore? What if she had new friends? A new life? What if he wasn't part of it? One night, as Leo sat on the bench, a news alert flashed on his wristband. Breaking. Deep range. Probe discovers massive fleet of ancient ships near Neptune. No crew. No signals. Scientists baffled. Leo frowned. He tapped the screen. A video played. Grainy footage of huge dark ships floating in silence. Sleek. Perfect. Like they were. Waiting. Experts said they were thousands of years old. Built by no known civilization. And yet they were intact. Powered. Quiet. Then came the most shocking part. The ships responded to human signals. Not weapons. Not threats. When a research drone sent a simple greeting in binary code, "We come." In peace, the lead ship lit up with a soft blue glow. It was like it recognized them. Leo stared at the screen, heart pounding. Something about those ships. It felt familiar. That night, he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Maya, about how far away she was, about how silent things had become between them. And then it hit him. Maybe that's what we are, he thought. An abandoned fleet. We're still here. Still working. Still alive. But we don't know how to talk to each other anymore. We're waiting for someone to send the signal. The next morning, Leo went to his shop. He didn't fix bikes. Instead, he opened an old project file. One he and Maya had started. Years ago. A tiny drone designed to carry messages into low orbit. They called it Whisper 1. They never finished it. Now he did. He worked all day. Soldered circuits. Rewired the transmitter. Programmed a simple message. Not a plea. Not a complaint. Just 3 words. "I miss you." And then he launched it. The little drone rose into the sky, blinking like a firefly, carrying Leo's voice into space. He didn't know if Maya would get it. He didn't know if she was even near the signal path, but he sent it anyway. Because sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is speak into the silence. Weeks passed. Leo still sat on the bench, still looked at the stars. Then one night, his wristband chimed. Not a news alert, a personal message. From Maya. His hands shook as he opened it. The screen lit up with her face, tired, smiling, her hair floating in 0G. Leo, she said softly. I got your message. She paused. Her eyes glistened. I've been scared too. I thought you'd moved on. I thought I wasn't important anymore. She took a breath. But when I saw the news about the fleet, I thought of us. 2 ships, drifting apart, not broken, just disconnected. Leo couldn't speak. Tears rolled down his face. Maya smiled. So I sent a signal back, not to the fleet, to you. And then she played it. Over the comms, a simple tone repeated, the same binary code the research drone had used. We come in peace. Leo laughed through tears. He typed back, we hear you. Months later, the world was still studying the fleet. Scientists called it the greatest discovery in human history. But Leo knew better. The real miracle wasn't the ships. It was what they reminded people of. That distance doesn't have to mean goodbye. That silence doesn't mean no one's listening. That sometimes all it takes is one small signal, one act of courage, to reconnect what was never truly lost. They found an abandoned fleet in deep space and made the choice that changed everything. They chose to reach out. They chose hope. And in that moment, humanity didn't just discover ancient ships. It remembered its heart. The message had been sent. I miss you. 3 small words. 1 tiny drone. 1 long journey into the dark. Leo had launched Whisper 1 with shaking hands, hoping more than believing that Maya would hear it. He didn't expect a reply so soon. He didn't expect her to cry. He didn't expect her to say she'd been afraid. 2, but she did. And when her voice came through, soft, real, hers, something inside Leo woke up again. It wasn't fixed. Not yet. Years had passed. Silence had grown roots between them. But now there was light. They started talking again. Not every day at first. Just short messages. How's the weather down there? We're doing gravity tests. I floated into a wall again. Simple things. Safe things. But slowly. The talks got longer. Deeper. Maya told him about the loneliness of space. How strange it felt to see Earth as just a pale dot. How hard it was to celebrate birthdays with no one to sing. Leo told her about fixing bikes. About his mom's garden. About how he still sat on that same bench every night. I always looked for your star, he admitted once. I didn't know which one you were near, but I looked anyway. There was a long pause. Then Maya whispered, I looked for yours too. They both laughed. But it wasn't just laughter. It was relief. Like 2 ships, drifting in silence, finally hearing each other's signals. Still, Leo felt a new kind of distance now. Not just the miles, but the time. So much had changed. He wasn't the same boy who waved goodbye at the launch site. Neither was she. One night, Maya sent a video call. She looked tired, but her eyes were bright. Hey, she said, I have news. Leo's heart jumped. Good news? I'm coming home, she said. The mission's ending. We're scheduled to return in 4 months. Silence. Leo didn't move. He just stared at the screen, his breath caught in his chest. Leo? She asked, smiling. You okay? He nodded, then shook his head, and finally whispered, I didn't think this day would come. Maya's smile softened. I didn't. Either. Not really. I thought maybe we'd just keep drifting. We almost did, Leo said. But we didn't, she said. Because you reached out. Leo looked down. I was scared. Me too, she said. But you sent the signal, and I answered. They sat in quiet for a moment, connected by a thread of light, stretching across millions of miles. Then Leo said, "You know, the fleet? The alien ships near Neptune? Yeah, I've been thinking about them a lot. About how they were just waiting, not broken, not lost, just waiting for someone to say, 'Hello? Are you there?'" Maya nodded. Slowly. "Kind of like us. Exactly like us," she smiled. "Maybe we were never really far apart. Just out of range." Leo felt something warm in his chest. Hope. Real, quiet, growing hope. Over the next few weeks, their talks changed. They weren't just catching up. They were building something new. Leo started sending her little things. Audio clips of rain. On the roof, videos of the sea, a recording of his mom humming an old song. Maya sent back sounds from the station, the hum of machines, the ping of coms, even a recording of her laughing during a zero-G game of floating chess. One day, she sent a photo. It was a room on the station. Small, gray, but on the wall. She'd taped something. Leo zoomed in. It was a printed picture of them. From years ago, sitting on that same bench, arms around each other, grinning at the sky. "You kept that?" he asked, voice thick. "Of course," she said. "It reminded me where I came from, and who was waiting." Leo didn't answer right away. He just looked at the photo, then out his window at the stars. He thought about the abandoned fleet, silent, ancient, powerful. And he thought about the choice the scientists made. They didn't try to control it. They didn't fear it. They reached out. They said, "We come in peace." And the fleet answered. Maybe people were like that too. Maybe hearts, like starships, could go dormant, not because they were broken, but because they were waiting for the right signal. And maybe courage wasn't about big actions. Maybe it was just pressing send on a message you were afraid to write. As the weeks passed, Leo began to prepare, not just for Maya's return, but for them. He fixed up the old workshop behind his house, painted the walls, installed soft lights. He even built a small display, a model of the alien fleet made from scrap parts. In the center, he placed two tiny figures, one standing on Earth. One floating in space, connected by a thin silver wire. Called it signal received. He didn't know if Maya would like it, but it was true. It was real. Like what they had. Not perfect. Not easy. 4 months passed. The days counted down like heartbeats. Leo marked each one on a small calendar by his window. A habit he'd started as a kid, but now it meant more. Every line through a date was one step closer to Maya's return. Still, the closer it got, the more nervous he felt. They had talked. They had laughed. They had shared pieces of their lives across the stars. But now, she wasn't just a voice on a screen. She was coming home. And home meant real moments. Walking side by side, seeing each other's eyes, standing in the same air, breathing the same wind. What if it wasn't the same? What if they weren't the same? Leo sat on the old bench by the sea, just like before. But now, instead of staring at the sky with sadness, he stared with a mix of hope and fear. He remembered the news reports about the alien fleet. Scientists had learned more. The ships weren't just machines. They were tests, left behind by a long-gone people called the Ethians. They watched, waited, and responded only to kindness, patience, and connection. If a species reaches out in peace, one scientist said, the fleet sees worth. If they come with force, it vanishes. Leo thought about that a lot. People were like that too. Sometimes when we feel hurt or distant, we build walls. We act cold. We shut down. Not because we don't care, but because we care too much to. Risk being broken again. Like the fleet, we go quiet. We wait, and we hope someone will still believe in us. One evening, Leo got a message. Not a call. Not a video. A letter. Maya had sent it through the deep space postal relay, a slow, old-fashioned way, used mostly for keepsakes and final goodbyes. But this wasn't a goodbye. Leo opened the paper, envelope with careful hands. Inside was a single sheet, written in Maya's messy handwriting. Dear Leo, I'm writing this while floating near Earth's orbit. I can see our town, a tiny speck near the blue curve of the ocean. I've looked for the bench. I don't know if I can see it, but I know it's there. But I want to tell you something I didn't say before. When I left, I thought I was chasing a dream, but I left behind the only thing that ever made me feel truly brave. You were the one who believed in me when no one else did. You were the one who said, go, even when it hurt. And when I was alone up here, scared and small, I kept wondering, did I make a mistake? But then your message came. I miss you. And I realized I didn't lose you. I just forgot how to reach you. Distance isn't just space. It's silence. It's fear. It's waiting for the other person to speak first. But we both spoke. Now I'm coming back, not just to Earth, but to you. I don't know what happens next. Maybe we'll be different. Maybe we'll need time. But I know this. I don't want to be brave without you anymore. See you soon. Leo read it 3 times. And he folded it gently and placed it in the small wooden box where he kept his most precious things, his father's old wrench, a seashell from their first beach trip. And now, this letter, he didn't cry, he smiled, because sometimes love isn't loud. It's quiet, it's patient. It's a letter sent across space, not because it has to be, but because someone wants you to feel it in your hands. The day before Maya's landing, Leo did something he hadn't done in years. He went to the spaceport. Viewing Hill. It wasn't open to the public often, but families of returning crew were allowed to gather there. Small groups had already started to arrive. Parents, siblings, partners, all waiting, watching the sky. Leo sat on the grass, his backpack beside him. Inside was signal received, a model he'd built of the alien fleet with the 2 tiny figures connected by a silver thread. He wasn't sure if he'd give it to her. Maybe it was too much. Maybe it was silly. But it was true. And truth was worth sharing. As the sun set, a soft chime came from his WRICDE. Maya, double quotes. Hey, she said, her face on the screen, glowing in the dim light of the shuttle cabin. We're beginning descent. Should touch down in 6 hours. Leo's heart beat faster. So it's really happening, she smiled. Yeah, it's really happening. There was a pause. Not awkward, just full, like they were both holding something big and beautiful. Leo, she said softly, I'm scared. Me too, he admitted. But I still want this. So do I. Another silence. Then Maya whispered, thank you for not giving up on me. Leo looked at the sky, where the first stars were waking up. You never gave up on me, he said. You just went far away, and I learned how to follow. The next morning, Leo stood at the edge of the crowd. The shuttle landed in a soft glow of light and steam. Doors opened. And then she stepped out. In her gray mission suit, her hair longer, her face older, but still hers. Maya walked down the ramp. Her eyes searched the crowd. And then they found him. She stopped. Smiled. And began to walk, not fast, not slow, just steady, like someone coming home. He walked too. When they met, they didn't hug right away. They just looked at each other. Years, distance, silence, fear. All of it stood between them. And then, together, they let it go. Leo reached into his bag and pulled out the model. Maya's eyes widened. You kept it? I made it for you, he said. It's called Signal Received. She laughed, tears in her eyes. I love it. Then finally they hugged. Not like goodbye, like hello, like we're here, like we made it. They found it abandoned. Fleet in deep space, and made the choice that changed everything. They chose to believe that silence doesn't mean end, that distance doesn't mean gone, that even after years of drifting, two hearts, like two ships in the void, can find their way back, not by force, but by faith. And in that moment, humanity didn't just prove it could talk to the stars. It proved it could heal itself, one signal at a time. Asterisk. Life after Maya's return wasn't like the movies. There were no grand speeches under fireworks, no instant fix, no perfect harmony from day one. Instead, there were quiet mornings at the kitchen table, awkward pauses, moments when one of them would start a sentence and stop, realizing the other hadn't lived that part of their life. Maya had spent years in space. She'd seen nebulae bloom like flowers, felt the silence between stars, celebrated birthdays with floating cake crumbs. Leo had stayed on Earth, fixing bikes, caring for his mom, watching the seasons change on the same quiet coast. They loved each other, as friends, as people who had grown up side by side, but now they were learning each other again, like two travelers who had taken different paths and finally met at the same crossroads. And sometimes, even when you're together, you can still feel far apart. One evening, Leo found Maya sitting on the bench by the sea, their bench. She wasn't looking at the sky. She was staring at her hands. "Hey," Leo said softly, sitting beside her. "You okay?" She nodded, but slowly. "I just didn't think coming home would feel so strange." Leo didn't answer right away. He watched the waves roll in, steady and calm. "I thought I'd feel whole," Maya went on, "like everything would just fit again. But it's like I'm wearing a life that doesn't belong to me." Leo understood. It wasn't that she didn't love being back. She did, but space had changed her. The silence, the weightlessness, the view of Earth as a fragile blue dot. It had reshaped how she saw everything. Down here, things felt loud, crowded, small. And Leo, as much as she loved him, sometimes felt like a memory she was trying to hold on to. "I don't want to lose you again," she said quietly. "But I'm scared I already have, in a different way." Leo took a breath. "I feel it too. Like we're speaking the same language, but with different accents." Maya looked at him, surprised. Then she smiled, a real one, soft and grateful. "Exactly," she said. "Accents. We're still the same words, just shaped by where we've been." They sat in silence for a while. Then Leo said, "You know what helped me when you were gone?" "What?" "The fleet." Maya tilted her head. "The alien ships?" Leo nodded. "Remember how everyone thought they were weapons? Or treasure? But they weren't. They were waiting for someone to say, 'We come in peace.'" Maya smiled faintly. "Yeah, they responded to kindness, not force." "Exactly," Leo said. "And I think people are like that too. When we feel broken or distant, we don't need fixing. We need someone to say, 'I'm here. I see you. I'm not afraid of the silence.'" Maya looked at the sky. A satellite blinked slowly, moving like a star. "I spent so much time looking at Earth from afar," she said. "I thought I knew what I was coming back to. But being here, it's different. I miss the quiet of space, the clarity. Out there, you can feel how connected everything is." Leo nodded. "Down here, it's easy to forget." Maya turned to him. "What if I don't belong here anymore?" Leo didn't answer fast. He thought of the fleet, drifting, patient, ancient. Not broken, not lost, just different. Then he said, "What if you don't have to choose?" "What do you mean?" "What if you can be both? Someone who's lived among the stars, and someone who still loves this place, this life, these people?" He looked at her, You don't have to be the same girl who left. And I don't have to be the same boy who stayed. We can be who we are now, together. Maya's eyes glistened. I'd like that, she whispered. The next week, Leo had an idea. He invited Maya to the old workshop behind his house, the one he'd fixed up, where he'd built signal received. When she walked in, she stopped. Room had changed. Walls were lined with soft blue lights, like a starfield. A small projector played a slow loop of Earth from space, clouds swirling, oceans glowing. In the center stood a new model, not of the fleet, but of a station. A research station, floating near Jupiter Dot, and beside it, a tiny Earth, connected by a thin, glowing thread. What is this? Maya asked. Leo smiled. I call it two homes. Spring turned to summer. The town bloomed with color. Flowers climbed the old stone walls. Children played barefoot on the warm pavement. Life moved forward. Leo and Maya were together, not just in the same town, but in the same rhythm. They walked the beach at sunset, shared meals with Leo's mom, laughed at old memories, and made new ones. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Still, Leo noticed something. Maya would sometimes stop in the middle of a sentence. Her eyes would drift upward, not to the trees or the sky, but beyond, as if searching for something only she could see. One night, he found her on the roof of her house, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the stars. Can't sleep? He asked, climbing up with 2 mugs of warm tea. She shook her head. Too many thoughts. Leo sat beside her. Want to share one? Maya sipped her tea, then pointed to a bright star near the horizon. That's near where the station orbited. I used to watch Earth from that angle every night. Same time. Same spot. Leo followed her gaze. You miss it. She didn't answer right away. Then softly, I do. Not the metal walls or the recycled air, but the quiet. The feeling of being so small, yet part of something so big. Leo nodded, like you could see the truth of things. Exactly, she said. Down here, everything feels loud, busy, like we're always trying to prove something. Out there, you just are. Leo didn't try to fix it. He didn't say, but you're home now, or you should be happy. He just sat with her, letting the silence breathe. After a while, he said, what if you could have both? Maya turned to him. What do you mean? What if you didn't have to choose? Between Earth and space? What if you could bring a little of one into the other? She frowned. How? Leo smiled. Let's build something. The next day, Leo brought out an old storage crate from the back of his workshop. Inside were parts he'd saved for years. Solar panels from broken drones, a small gravity sensor from a training pod, a holographic projector from a decommissioned science kit. I've been collecting this stuff, he said. Just in case. In case of what? In case you ever wanted to go back. Maya froze. You want me to leave again? Leo shook his head. No, I want you to choose. Without fear, without guilt. If space is part of you, it should have a place here too. He looked around the workshop, so I was thinking, what if we build a small research hub, right here, solar-powered, open to the sky, with real-time data from deep space, star. Maps, comms relays, like a ground station, but personal. A place where you can study the stars without leaving home. Maya stared at him. You'd help me do that? Even if it means I'm still out there in my mind? Of course, Leo said. You don't love space instead of us. You love it through us. And that's okay. Tears welled in Maya's eyes, not of sadness, of relief. Because for the first time since returning, she didn't feel like she had to hide part of herself to belong. They started building the next week. Neighbors helped. Leo's mom brought food. Kids from the science Club offered ideas. Even the local tech school sent students to assist. They called it Starlight Reach. It wasn't big. Just a small dome made of recycled glass and steel, nestled on a hill above the town. Inside, screens displayed live feeds from orbiting satellites. A central console pulled data from deep space probes. A telescope pointed steadily at the sky. And, in the center, a single chair facing the stars, but with its back to the town so you could look up and still feel connected. On opening night, Maya sat in the chair for the first time. The dome glowed softly. Stars reflected off the glass. A quiet hum filled the air, the sound of data flowing, of signals traveling across space. Leo stood beside her. "Welcome home." She looked at him. "This is it, isn't it?" "The balance," he nodded. "You don't have to leave to remember who you are, and I don't have to hold you back to keep you close." Maya reached for his hand. "Thank you for not being afraid of what I need." "I'm not afraid," Leo said, "because love isn't about keeping someone close. It's about helping them fly and knowing they'll still want to come back." A few weeks later, news came. The alien fleet, the one drifting near Neptune, had begun to move. Not away. Scientists discovered that the fleet responded not just to peace, but to shared purpose. When humans worked together, across nations, languages, borders, the ships glowed brighter. When conflict rose, they dimmed. And now, as Starlight Reach went live, a strange thing happened. A signal was detected, not from Earth, but from the lead ship of the fleet. It was a simple burst of light, aimed directly at the solar system. And when decoded, it contained one phrase, repeated in every known human language: "Connection confirmed." Experts were stunned. But Leo and Maya weren't. They stood together under the dome, watching the stars. "She's not just back," Leo said quietly. "She's part of something bigger." Maya smiled. "Maybe we all are." They found and abandoned. Fleet in deep space, and made the choice that changed everything. They chose to believe that understanding is stronger than control, that listening is more powerful than speaking, that love, whether between people or between worlds, isn't about holding on. It's about creating space for each other to grow. And so, in a small coastal town, under a dome of glass and hope, a young woman studied the stars, not because she wanted to escape, but because she remembered where she came from and knew someone was always waiting to bring her back. The greatest journey wasn't through space. It was the quiet choice, again and again, to stay in range. To say, without words, "I see you. I hear you. I'm here." And in that simple truth, humanity didn't just find an ancient fleet. It found itself. What started as a quiet dome on a hill became a place of wonder. Students from nearby towns came to learn. Scientists sent data streams to be analyzed. Even astronauts on long missions would send personal messages. Knowing someone on Earth was listening. Maya found her rhythm. She studied cosmic drift patterns, tracked deep space signals, taught young kids how to read star maps. And every evening, she sat in her chair, looked up, and remembered the silence of space, not with sadness, but with peace. Leo was there too. Not every night. Not always speaking, but always present. He fixed the systems when they glitched, upgraded the solar panels, built a small bench outside the dome so people could sit and look up together. He didn't understand all the science, but he understood her. And that was enough. Still, distance isn't only measured in miles. Sometimes it hides in quiet moments, when someone smiles but their eyes are far away, or when they speak of dreams that don't include you. One cool evening, Leo arrived at Starlight Reach to find Maya sitting alone, her face lit by the soft glow of a message on screen. She didn't hear him come in. Her shoulders were tense. Her fingers tapped lightly on the console. "Hey," Leo said gently. Maya turned. Her smile was warm but tired. "Oh, hey, what's up?" he asked, glancing at the screen. She hesitated, then turned it toward him. It was an official message from the Interstellar Research Board. Subject: Invitation to lead deep space observation. Post: Mars orbit. Leo read it slowly. They wanted Maya, not just to visit. To lead a new station, a 3-year mission, just like the last one. His chest tightened. "When did you get this?" he asked, voice calm. 2 days ago, she said. "I didn't know how to tell you." Leo nodded. He walked to the telescope, adjusted the lens slightly, not because it needed it, but because his hands needed something to do. "I see," he said. Maya stood. "I haven't said yes. I don't even know if I want to go. Do you?" Leo asked, turning to face her. She looked down. "Part of me does. It's a huge opportunity. And I miss being out there, the clarity, the purpose." Leo didn't look away. "And the other part?" "The other part," she said softly, "doesn't want to leave you again. Doesn't want to start over with silence." They stood in quiet, not awkward, not angry, just real, like two people who loved each other enough to face the hard things. Finally, Leo said, "You should go." Maya looked up, surprised. "What?" "If it's what you need," he said, "you should go." "But I mean it," Leo said. "Not because I want you to, but because you shouldn't have to choose between your dreams and your heart. You've already done that once. I won't make you do it again." Tears filled Maya's eyes. "But what about us?" Leo stepped closer. "We're not fragile, Maya. We've already proven that. We found each other across millions of miles once. We can do it again." She shook her head. "It was hard last time." "It was, Leo." "Agreed, because we didn't know how to reach each other. But now we do." He smiled. "We have starlight reach. We have signals. We have trust. And most of all, we have the choice to stay connected, no matter where we are." Maya wiped her eyes. "You're not scared?" "Of course I'm scared," Leo said. "But love isn't the absence of fear. It's doing the right thing anyway." She laughed through tears. "When did you get so wise?" "From watching you," he said. "You taught me that courage isn't about staying or going. It's about being honest, about not hiding." They stood together, looking out at the stars. After a while, Maya whispered, "I'll only go if you come visit." "At least once," Leo grinned. "I'll bring Whisper 1. Maybe we can launch a message from Mars." She laughed. "Deal." Weeks passed. Maya accepted the mission, not with guilt, but with gratitude. She would go. And Leo would stay. But not apart, together in a new way. When the day came to say goodbye at the spaceport, it wasn't sad. Leo stood in the front row, holding a small box. Inside was a new version of Signal Received, updated. One figure stood on Earth. One floated near Mars. Between them,